India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is en route to Moscow. He will arrive there later today at 3 p.m. local time to attend the 22nd India-Russia Annual Summit. He is scheduled to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin, and this is also Prime Minister Modi's first visit to Russia since the invasion of Ukraine, an issue on which New Delhi has maintained a neutral stance. It also comes at a time of growing Russia-China closeness. The two-day visit is aimed at reviewing bilateral ties between the two countries, including key areas like defense, investment, energy cooperation, education and culture. As per the Kremlin, the leaders will partake in both restricted talks as well as one involving delegations. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said that trade ties will be at the top of the agenda. This comes as India's import of discounted Russian crude has increased significantly since the war in Ukraine. S. Jaishankar also pointed out towards a quote-unquote trade imbalance between the two countries. While Moscow's total exports to India are $65 billion, India's exports are only about $4 billion. India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Kwatra has revealed that New Delhi is looking to expand exports across various sectors, including farm products, technology, pharmaceutical services. As per India's Foreign Ministry, Prime Minister Modi will reach Moscow by today afternoon, following which President Putin will hold a private dinner for the Indian leader, where they are expected to discuss regional and global developments of mutual interest. Prime Minister Modi will also have an in-person interaction with the Indian diaspora in Russia. Later in the day, he will also lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier, a war memorial for unidentified Soviet soldiers from World War I on Tuesday. He will then visit Russia's state-owned nuclear energy facility, Rosatom, followed by a restricted meeting with President Putin. Although India and Russia have held annual summits since 2000, none have been held since President Putin visited New Delhi in 2021. Prime Minister Modi will also talk about the Indians who were quote-unquote misled into joining the Russian army in its war against Ukraine. The Prime Minister is expected to demand an earliest discharge of these people from the Russian military. Till now, at least 4 Indians have been killed amid the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. At least 10 Indians have been rescued, while over 20 others have contacted the Indian mission in Moscow to seek release. Earlier in May, the Indian police arrested 4 Russian nationals involved in luring Indian people to Russia over lucrative job offers. Meanwhile, Kremlin Press Secretary Dmitry Peskov said that the West is quote-unquote closely and jealously watching the visit, adding the press secretary said that Russian-Indian relations are at the level of strategic partnership. Our principal diplomatic correspondent Siddharth Sibal interacted with the Indian ambassador to Russia, Ambassador Vinay Kumar, in lieu of Prime Minister Modi's visit, on what will be the key points of discussion during the bilateral summit. Let's listen in.
Will you say that when it comes to last few years, one of the major positive story in this relationship has been trade, which has now been surpassed in terms of the initial target to almost $60 billion now?
Yes, 60. In fact, last financial year it was $65 billion, and there is growing investment relationship. Not only India has investment in energy sector in Russia. In more recent times, Russian companies have invested in India. One of the major investment is in the railway sector. Mm-hmm. So, as I said, expanding relationship actually in trade and business ties.
Mm-hmm. On an element which is a permanent fixture of Prime Minister's foreign visits abroad, that is the diaspora. Prime Minister is going to address the diaspora here in Moscow. If you can talk about the Indian diaspora in Russia, how important they are and essentially how they have been the pillar of relationship.
Well, Indian diaspora in Russia is different from diaspora in many other countries. Here we have primarily 2 parts. One is the Indian students, which number several thousand, studying, most of them are studying medicine in Russian institutions. And then second is the business people. now business people, particularly because they are presently here in the city, students, most of them are on summer vacation, but the business community is the main Indian diaspora at this time, and they are very eagerly looking forward to Prime Minister's visit, which Prime Minister is visiting Russia after 4 years. Last visit 5 years. Last visit was to Vladivostok in 2019. But actually he is visiting Moscow after first time after 2015. So diaspora is looking very eagerly to have Prime Minister in their midst, welcome him, and also listen to Prime Minister.